one of the famous quotes that I always refer back to, Brett, is vision without execution is hallucination.
Mm.
And that was very adamant in my business, that I had this big vision of where I wanted to go, but the execution was lacking. And so, when you own a job or you're a small business owner, and you are the bottleneck of all decisions, and every decision has to come through you, you are limited to how you can scale. And so the way that you scale has to be through systems and process and procedures and manuals and training, and onboarding and structure. And I suck at all of that. And so getting someone who could help me implement all of that was where we really started to gain traction. So for anyone out there who's a visionary, that has read Rocket Fuel and says, oh my gosh, yes, I am a visionary and that's the problem. It is imperative that you find someone to come in behind you, and start implementing process that loves detail. And that's where the true partnership lies, is in getting those two aligned.
Yeah, that's a great book, and we're going to put that in the description too, guys. Rocket Fuel, the same author wrote Traction, and we'll put that in there as well. And I've read Scaling Up, so those are all great books if you guys are looking to scale your business as well. And Mark, there was a time, maybe not too long ago, maybe it was a couple years ago, that all these decisions were coming to you, and I know what that's like, right? You're leading this team, you're trying to keep all the plates spinning at the same time. You got the money, you're trying to track the data, you're trying to empower your team, your people, and that's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of stress. And I know that you mentioned before, you did a presentation at Collective Genius, which we're both a part of, and you talked about what this did to you. So why don't you take us there, of the business leader, and talk to the person out there that maybe has all that upon them right now.
Yeah, so my low point was an emotional low point. Again, this is kind of in the second iteration of my business, right? So now, I'd been done with my business divorce in 2009. Now I had, I got a successful company that was financially doing extremely well. So it's sometimes you've got to separate the business from being a financial success to being a success. I was not successful as I would define it now, because I was putting a big pressure on my family, working nights and weekends. Well, never not working was really the fact of it. I'd have my cell phone really as an electronic leash, always checking email, getting texts, responding. I kind of used it as a crux that I could be on vacation and like, oh yeah, I can go on vacation because I've already, I wouldn't lose track because my cell phone's right there. Turning off a cell phone for a week would probably shut the business down, from decision making happening. And so, getting from that point to where now I could step away from the business for 30, 40 days, and I mean, it wouldn't miss me. Might not have as many podcast episodes, but other than that, the business would be growing and scaling. And so, bridging that gap, I reached a low point emotionally, and I finally just, you're a Christian, Brad. I think, there's times when, God has used people to break you down, and you kind of have to hit rock bottom. So I'm a I guess one of the things I've learned is that I'm a hard study, and sometimes I need to be broken down, and sometimes it can just be a day or a week, of having a low point. But sometimes the answer can be staring you in the face, but it's that fear, that scar tissue of a business divorce was stopping me from really getting into another one. And I finally realized that the person was right there in front of me. And so having the guts to kind of get back on the horse, do it the right way, attract that person with a compensation package that, quite frankly, was more than I was paying myself at the time. Attracting talent is expensive, but realizing and trusting that it would allow, I was effectively buying my own time back. I was effectively saying my family's important, so I'm willing to make less money, I guess temporarily, but make less money to buy some of my time back. And then, what it turned into is obviously just, this scaling of the business where, we're now doing more houses in a month than we used to do, in a quarter. And so that's I guess the traction. I did have a low point in March of 2018. And, from there, sprung back to having, pushing through, getting the right person on board, and moving through the next stage of that life cycle where I now feel like I have the right people on board. And really, the CEO of an organization should just do three things. It's the vision of the organization, hiring the right people, and having the cash and financial relationships to back that up. So if you want to remove yourself and transition from being owning a job and being a small business entrepreneur to actually being a business owner, think of it in that terms. All you need to do is have vision and strategy, vision for the company, the direction, telling it where to go, having the cash and the finances to back it up, and then, just making sure the right people are on the bus. And the rest should be handled, all operations. In fact, in rocket fuel, it even says that the tie goes to the COO. So you have to actually give up operational control of your company to the COO, because if the tie goes to the COO when you're differing opinion of operational, how to operate the business.
Yeah. One of the questions I get asked a lot, because I have someone working on our team. You guys have all met him, Brian Snyder. He's the CEO now, and I'm the owner, sitting in the owner's box. He was the COO before I promoted him to CEO. But one of the things is people always ask is, how do I find my number two? How do I find my operations manager, COO, whatever you want to call it? And that's a huge decision, right? And a lot of people get stuck in that. And I think, Mark, maybe you got stuck when you're trying to decide on whether I should hire this person, whether I should not, the financial package. A lot of people just get stuck somewhere along the way. Maybe they think, oh, this is too much money. I can't pay anybody that much money. Maybe it's a control freak thing. Like, I can't let anybody else control anything, right? Because I'm the man. So what do you see with other leaders and maybe in your own experience, like, how did you overcome some of those decisions and priorities? Like, did you write it out? Like, what did that look like for you?
Yeah, the biggest hurdle for me, if I'm being totally transparent, was probably the financial one. Understanding that to hire talent, you hear of these executives that are making just exorbitant amounts of money in corporate America and thinking that you can't attract that kind of talent. It's kind of a limiting mindset. For someone to climb the corporate ladder and, be making, 500,000 plus in corporate America, you have to sell your soul to that organization. And they take a lot, and it is a toll. And most of it involves travel, because you're given regions and areas that you have to cover. And so, understanding a little bit better, if you call it competition, right? If you're thinking of it in terms of trying to hire talent, you could go to corporate America, or you could come work for a small business. Corporate America has a lot to offer, but you have way more to offer as a small business owner. They get to live, work, and breathe in their small town. They don't have to travel. They get better quality of life. And the compensation can be adequate and fair and commensurate to, the effort that they're putting in, and to what corporate America would be paying. So I think firstly it was overcoming that obstacle of just, realizing that it would take a lot of money to hire, top talent. And then it was to find the right person is a big hurdle. I think it's more about making sure that they are the personality that I'm a big believer in culture index, predictive index, DISC, whatever you want to call it, but understanding that personality types do fit certain roles. And you've got to make sure that you hire someone who is really good at holding people accountable for that role. That role entirely is all about LM&A, leading, managing, and holding accountable. And if you get someone that sucks in that role, you're going to have to step in and start doing their role for them, and it's just going to fall apart. So hiring someone that's comfortable in that role by, making sure you script out a good, not just the job description, but also fitting them to the personality traits that would be, adaptive to that particular role. And I say, for that role, I mean, really, we've now transitioned like all roles in the organization. We need to find, the right fit for the seat. So I think hiring for personality type has certainly changed the way we hire. But I think who was it? The Power of Who, Bob, I forget his last name, wrote a book where he said the concept that everybody that you need to know, you already know, is in your circle of influence already. If you start, voicing to the world your, call them problems or issues, concerns or challenges that you're currently going through, the universe will solve your problem for you. And I think you start putting it out there in a positive light, not just on LinkedIn and Indeed and those kind of sites, but start just telling people, hey, do you know anybody that would be interested in running a business? Oh man, yeah, this person, you'd be surprised how many people would find a small business an attractive place to come to work. And that's, I think, where you have to start.
Thank you so much for checking out the Brett Snodgrass channel. If you like this video, please slam on that like button. And if you really like it, then subscribe to our channel here. And remember to leave us a comment below, and I'm going to try my hardest to reply to all the comments. Thank you guys so much. This is why I do what I do. Every single week, I come out with content that focuses on success, freedom, and living out your purpose. Thank you guys so much. See you next time.